I don't like visiting my grandparents, not because of them, but because their house always gives me a weird vibe. Like someone is always standing behind you or looking at you. I told them and my parents once how I felt. My grandparents had a serious look on their faces, but immediately dismissed me. They said that the house is just old and that I don't visit enough, so is unfamiliar to me. When we left that night, my dad told me a story of something that happened to them when they first got the house. My father was 5 years old and my grandmother was pregnant with my uncle. The family was growing and they had to get a new house. They gathered what they could and bought the house. He tells me that they spent the whole first day unpacking. But as the night descended, they decided to call it a day and go to bed. The house, though unfamiliar, seemed peaceful, with only the occasional creaking of floorboards adding to the typical sounds of settling in a new place. My dad had to sleep with my grandparents because his room wasn't ready yet. They were tired from the day's activities, so they quickly drifted into a deep sleep. But my dad couldn't fall asleep. He felt like something was off. Around midnight, he heard a strange noise coming from the hallway. It was as if someone was pacing back and forth, their footsteps echoing ominously in the silence of the night. He nudged my grandparents awake, and they listened intently, his heart pounding in his chests. Whispers started to fill the air, indistinct at first, but growing louder and more unsettling. They exchanged uneasy glances, unable to comprehend the source of these eerie sounds. Their minds raced with thoughts of an intruder or something supernatural. Gathering up the courage to investigate, my grandfather cautiously stepped into the dimly lit hallway. My grandmother stayed back with my dad. The air felt colder, and a mysterious draft sent shivers down their spines. The whispers persisted, weaving through the darkness like ghostly tendrils. As he ventured further, a flickering light caught his attention. My dad remembers a scream coming from my grandfather, like no other he had heard from him before or since. My grandfather ran back and told them that he had seen something horrifying and they needed to get out. As they were leaving, the mirror's reflection seemed distorted, casting eerie shadows that danced with the flickering lights. The whispers grew more coherent. They could hear someone telling them of a tragedy. It was as if the walls held memories, and the mirrors were a portal to another time. They still had the old house, so unable to bear the haunting atmosphere, they decided to spend the rest of the night there. The following morning, they researched the history of the house, discovering stories of a previous owner who had met a tragic end. The unnerving experiences of the night seemed to align with the stories they uncovered. Determined to bring peace to their new home, they looked for the help of a spiritual cleanser who performed a ritual to release any lingering spirits. As the ceremony concluded, the house felt lighter. The whispers ceased. My dad had nightmares about it well into his teens, but according to him, he never felt anything like that night ever again. My grandfather has never told anyone about what exactly he saw out there that night, but I feel like I have some sort of sensitivity for the supernatural, and I can still feel something is wrong when I'm there.